Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Isekai Shikkaku, episode 6, in which, I don't know, we're probably gonna more or less start the next arc, right? Probably. The previous episode 5, very much felt like that sort of not necessarily a transitionary, that's not a word, is it? Not so much a transition episode between arcs, but kinda. Not so much a downtime episode, but kinda, right? It was very much that, episode between arcs, and yet it was the beginning of an arc and an arc in and of itself, and an ending of an arc, like multiple purposes. We learned a lot of stuff from the previous episode, that's for sure. It started with not Ithota. Ithota is a unit in Supreme. Yeah, in Supreme Commander, I think. My friend loves his fucking Ithotas anytime we play. Isha. Isha, of course, went to the Vatican, or whatever it's called in this world, for like a, I don't know, seasonal meeting where they meet with all the bishops from all the other temples, and with the Pope as well. And so we met a whole slew of colorful characters. We met Wolf, we met the goblin guy, whose name I cannot recall, and he's probably not listed either. We've also met the new bishop of the temple where Annette stems from, and and that's all. And we also met the old elf bishop, I think, and we also met the Pope. So yeah, a bunch of new characters. They discussed the state of the world, the state of their bishoprics, the state of their continents, essentially, right? Like there are like 4 continents around, and there's the middle Demon Lord continent. Everything is fine all around, right? No, like, big, huge changes. Of course, there was that village, that town in Isha's region that got burnt down, right? There were some other minor squabbles here and there as well. But the biggest news we received is that the Demon Lord was defeated, but an adventurer or otherworlder installed himself on the Demon Lord's throne. So the king is dead, long live the king, essentially. And that's bad, because otherworlders are strong, and they want to conquer the world and make the world better, and stuff like that, which theoretically they probably could, right? I mean, everybody has, or a great chunk of humans have some knowledge of some modern techniques, right? Some little bits of agriculture, right? Everybody knows that you need I don't know, fertilizer for the plants to grow better, and some people might even need that plants need specifically potassium, right? So they could actually make the world a better place, but somehow I doubt that this is their ultimate goal. Somehow I believe that they would rather conquer the world and just be the kings and rulers, and not necessarily for the benefit of the populace of this world. So that's a problem, of course. Thankfully, Isha might have a solution, and she tells as much to the others that she met one other worlder, one Osamu Dazai, who is able to send other worlders back. And that might be the chance that they needed, that might be the only chance they get, because judging from their reactions, there does not exist any other magic or rituals or whatever that would have the same effect as Osamu's power. So, very important thing to have for the story. Then we cut to the Demon Lord Castle. Yeah, we cut to Demon Lord Castle. We meet some of the adventurers, otherworlders that made their their home there. There is a connoisseur of wine, and there's a person who the connoisseur of wine gives wine to, and that person is Sachan. Dun dun dun, plot twist. Yeah, Sachan, as it turns out, was among the people who defeated the Demon Lord, and she now resides in the Demon Lord's castle. She still very much is on the lookout for Osamu, right? She still has her feelings on her sleeve, so to speak, and chances are, I mean, she could turn into a yandere. I can absolutely see her becoming a yandere, 100%. So maybe I should not be saying that chances are she will side with Osamu, because she might think she's siding with Osamu, but ultimately work against his goals and wishes. So we'll see where that goes. I would say it's gonna take us quite a while yet until the meeting of Osamu and Sachan. Then Osamu and his merry gang arrive at a village to rest for the night, and they meet Nir, a kid who tells them that for, a chunk of change, not much, just all of their savings, he will be able to introduce them to an adventurer, to a strong and powerful warrior, otherworlder and whatnot, the hero among heroes, really, who will certainly help them in their travels. Takes the money and bails. And of course, Annette falls for it, but oh well, what can we do about that, right? Turns out the kid gets into trouble with some people, with some otherworlders, indeed, and he is rescued from that situation by Osamu, who arrives there and just scares those people completely shitless, as he is wont to do. He has some nice lines, like adults or children who are betrayed, right? And he has that sort of feeling of duty, almost, right? Like, I'm the adult here, I'm supposed to be the hero here, so I should probably act like a hero, right? I should probably help this kid, which he's not like presenting overtly, but you can very much read those things in his actions. So yeah, that's what happens. He rescues the boy, and the boy then arrives with a sword, sword that is very close to him. My bet is that it's like his father's sword, maybe. His father died in a war, and only the sword remained, and so Nier decided to pick it up and become a warrior, but he couldn't, so he resorted to scamming people out of money. There's a whole entire backstory behind him, for sure. In any case, he joins the team. He says, I promised you a warrior. Well, look at that sword, I'm a warrior. And thus our party now counts 4 people. And we are on the way to the next temple in the wolves, the drunkard elf boy area. And it's like desert, and traveling that place will probably not be much fun, especially not inside of a coffin. So we'll see how they deal with that. We'll see when they arrive there. We'll see if they are even given a chance to ask about Sachan, probably. But there will probably be many more adventures on the way. And indeed, one such adventure found them already, because they arrived at Tama's hometown, and were immediately apprehended and stuffed into a dungeon. Because Tama seems to be quite infamous in the area. I wonder if we're gonna learn of her real proper name, or is her name gonna be Mike Wazowski again? And someone's gonna be like, oh, Tama, but your name is, and I don't know, horns sound because enemy attacks or something like that. Probably. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, but we'll see, of course. We'll see what happens. What do I expect from today's episode? We'll stay in Tama's place for quite some time. Maybe by the end of the episode we're gonna already be out. Probably thanks to Osamu's silver tongue, he will somehow manage to talk their way out of captivity. That would be my bet. What exactly is gonna happen? I don't know. We're gonna have to watch this episode to see that, right? So, shall we do that? Yes, we shall. To watch this episode, you're gonna need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word. It costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Isekai Shikkaku episode 6 in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I did not connect my fucking... There we go. I think I connected my headphones to the microphone input. I mean, good question in their situation. Yeah. Like so. Simple enough. Yeah, he's more of a rogue, isn't he? Of course. He wanted to be executed. Of course, guards. uh... uh... I like that they escaped, or Nier opened the door, and of course there's gonna be guards there. Of course the guards are gonna catch them. Duh. It's one of the things that... what was the other anime that was so good about it? Spice and Wolf, I think. Yeah, I think Spice and Wolf is the one that's also so good about it. Where things happen that I wouldn't really notice if they didn't, but they did, and it makes sense, right? Like, if they were to open the door and just escape, I wouldn't really pay it any mind. I would not really question that, where are the guards? Because, oh well, they escaped, of course, you know, they escaped. But because they were caught by the guards, duh, of course it makes sense that they would be, right? It's nice. I think it's nice. Okay. Oh, straight in the face of the king. Yes! Score! Oh, we get her proper name. Tama's name is Matilda. Yep. Hmm. Okay. We get an out. Marry someone. Oh, no. That's actually gonna be even harder. That's bordering on impossible. Oh well, execute them. or you can escape. Those are some massive pauldrons he's wearing, the king. Yeah, it actually was a surprise. Oh? You have huge eyes, you know that. Oh, she's a fawn. I mean, okay, yeah, makes sense, I guess, that she would have huge eyes if she's a fawn. I thought it's like a cat people place, but apparently, like, other animal folk as well? Oh? Story! Something piqued his interest. Yeah. A tragic story of a princess who wishes to be free and yet she's duty bound to never be, right? Tragic, really. Her story is interesting. That's what matters. Yeah, nothing really gives him any sort of a pause, does it? Stars should not be shining through the dark spot on the moon. Just saying. Oh, well, that's no bueno. Very good question, actually, yeah. Oh, adventurer. Yeah, Otherworlder of some description. Mm-hmm. And he's a glutton, apparently. Yep. He's hungry. Yep. Apparently. Do you not have weapons? I guess you don't have weapons. Get eaten. Oh, a true connoisseur of meat. Bring me a princess, of course. You really don't have weapons, do you? Q-tama? I guess it can not only eat, but also, like, what, spit? And it has a physical form. Yeah, of course. He is another welder. Yeah, but he's not a normal person, is he? Okay, so he, like, what, absorbs whatever he eats? Ah, dropping even more weights. Apparently. Yeah, why would you capture him? Doubt. Why, Tama? Why? Why would you stop him? Oh? Bit of inferiority complex? Or survivor's guilt, maybe? I love the thing that makes for the crowns. That's when the king became overprotective of Matilda. And when Matilda decided to try to replace the valiant prince and become valiant herself. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Perfectly tragic, isn't it? Yeah. You stupid cat. And is her father gonna sacrifice himself? Yeah, of course. Oh, only lost an arm. That's better than the alternative. So it actually, like, goes into his own mouth. Interesting. Yeah, probably a good choice. Oh, I thought that's already the end of the episode, but no, it's just the midpoint. Well, 14 minutes in, not really a midpoint, but you know. Mm-hmm. He probably also has some sort of a tragic backstory that will resonate with Osamu, and thus it will trigger his ability, and bada bing, bada boom, sent back. Right? Really good music. Why does he have a hole in his kimono on the back? And also on the front. Oh, that's from the punch, probably. Yeah? Yeah, unlikely. It's just a preference, you know, he's not gonna deny eating men either. Hmm. Perfect, isn't it? Is he gonna, like, buff Tama with his story? Hmm. You know, the biggest tragedy is the struggle, and so she needs the strength to continue that struggle. That would make for the best story, wouldn't it? And so she needs to be given that strength. Yes, stay the fuck back, Tama. Yes. Yes, actually. Because you acted stupid. Oh? Oh, right. Where her brother and mother died. Fair. Yeah. True. With mysterious conditions for triggering that ability. But it can trigger, so Yeah, he'd rather stay behind. Yeah, I mean, makes perfect sense to get in that way, doesn't it? Oh, get eaten, poison him, done. Good question, actually. Had he eaten a human? And another worlder to boot. Back to jail. Hmm. You got a plan? I guess we're gonna learn about it in the next episode, if there is a plan in place. I wonder, actually, what's the plan here? Well, the obvious thing, of course, is send Kyoko. Kyoko? Think is his name? Or whatever. Send the guy back. Right? Easy. Second possibility, Sensei is poisonous as fuck. Let him bite his, I don't know, finger or something. Poison him. Done. Another possibility that would also be interesting, but it's probably not going to be the case. Power Tama up. Right? Because she's the protagonist of this story. I guess depends on how exactly Sensei's powers work. If it actually is the ability to make any story continue, then powering Tama up would give her the ability to continue her story. Right? She's not here, is she? Of course. Hello, Tama. That was very stupid of you to arrive here. Yeah, of course, cat. There we go. Let's watch this episode again, shall we? They really have a way of doing cliffhangers in pretty much every single episode, don't they? Okay, we're in jail and then freed. Easy. I actually love the fact that they were immediately caught by the guards. That's genuinely great. And of course, Sensei wants to be executed. Kidnapping the princess, of course. And Tama turns out to be a princess. Because of course. I just realized something, that some of the characters here, like Annette and Nier, mostly Annette, would really not be out of place in something like Konosuba. She really would not be out of place in Konosuba. She has some of that aqua quality to her, doesn't she? Especially like this. As you say, Your Highness. I will not. If you'll do as I say, I shall release them this instant. Of course, you gotta resort to this. Swear you'll never do anything foolish again. I fully expected this to be another comedic moment, to be a moment where Annette, Matilda is like, I'm sorry guys, you're gonna get executed. And they're gonna have to get out of this sticky situation some other way, but no, not quite. I really enjoy their crowns, the crowns of the royal family. I really enjoy them because they make sense, right? Like with ears like those, how are you gonna wear a crown? You would have to wear a circlet, either a circlet right above your eyebrows, which probably not great, or you would need to have like a helmet with holes for ears instead of a crown, or the crown would have to have cutouts, or some weird shit would have to be done. But it's a couple of decorative rings that are put around the ears, and women have like a thingamajig that joins them in the middle. It makes sense for cat people, doesn't it? I like it. I really do. Yeah, free to go just like that. What are we having? Meat, potatoes, and some salad. Sensei, of course, wanted to be executed, so he's disgruntled. Yeah, I really thought it's a place of cat people, but apparently other demi-humans reside here as well. Is it like a demi-human country, a demi-human city, something along those lines? She had been captured by a tree monster, and now she's been confined to the castle by her father. Truly an interesting woman, truly a protagonist of a tragedy, isn't she? Yep, something that piqued his interest. And I thought this might be maybe Sensei, right? Maybe Osamu arriving to talk to Tama or something like that, but no, it's the other worlder. The moon. Where the... Yeah, oh. This... Show the big moon. There we go. That's not how moon, like, phases work. You don't see stars on the dark part of the moon because it's a shadow cast on the moon. It's not a hole in the fucking planet. So... They could have done it better, and I'm sensitive to that because for one of my game projects that is probably never gonna be released, I was working on like a moon phase system, and something didn't sit right with me, and then I realized that I was changing the opacity of the moon with the cutout, and so the stars were shining through, and they're not supposed to, because it's a shadow, not a hole, and I had to do some... What did I have to do in the end? Can't remember. My like moon material is just a whole fucking mess. I think I actually just resorted to dragging the mask into like different outputs, seeing what works and what doesn't. And eventually something worked, so hey, I got that covered. I got moon phases done. Yeah, I got them done. Right. Yeah, because I also initially had the issue where the moon would be like a hole kind of cut into it with the shadow, but the phases of the moon don't look like that. First it's like this, and then it straightens, and then it bends the other way. It's a whole like yeah, never mind. Never mind that. Yeah, another otherworlder with the power to eat, and a very Zetsubo Sensei way of doing the kimono pattern, where the pattern is just entirely stationary, yeah, and everything moves. Not just Zetsubo Sensei, I think kimono patterns were done this way in like pretty much everything Monogatari as well. Any other show that comes into mind? I'm not sure. Monogatari and Zetsubo Sensei for sure. Most of the like highly stylized ones. Kaibara. Fallen angel of gluttony who likes to eat, apparently. People to boot. And he doesn't like warriors much. What could have given him this power? Starvation, right? Like, no doubt. He was very unhappy in the real world because he was starving, and so he was given... Motherfucker, I should put it somewhere else. And so he was given a power to eat anything and everything, or maybe just eat humans. Maybe humans starved him, and so as an inversion, he was given the power to eat humans, or what passes as humans. Wait, Kaibara is his name, right? Right. Not Kyokyo. Kyokyo. Kaibara. Kaibara was starving in real world, hence power to eat, in parentheses, starved by humans, meaning eats humanoids. Yeah, probably something like that. Soft flesh of a young demi-woman. He's a dragon from European mythos, where the dragon always asks for the princess or for, like, young virgin once a year or stuff like that. Divine Beast Fist. Dropping the weights like, who was it in Naruto? Gaara? I think Gaara. No, not Gaara. Rock Lee. Yeah, Rock Lee dropped his, like, weights. Was it Rock Lee? I think it was Rock Lee. But yeah, you don't really stand much of a chance against someone who can summon jaws like that pretty much anywhere. What is the limitation of Kaibara's power, right? Is it limited by line of sight? Is it limited by distance, right? It would be useful to know that. I mean, it would be useful to know that in any other situation, right? Where the expected resolution of this fight would be to, you know, actually fight Kaibara and win somehow, because it turns out that whenever he summons the jaws, he can only summon them in a single place, so someone can bait the attack and then someone else can attack from behind, or, you know, regular normal isekai fight, essentially. In this case, in case of this show, I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters, because the whole situation is going to be resolved with some sort of a bullshit. And in this context, I use bullshit as a term of endearment, because it's either going to be solved by Osamu talking him down somehow, or Osamu's power un-isekaiing him, or, you know, something like that, most probably. I actually wonder what's gonna be like Osamu's power here that will save the day. The obvious choice, of course, is that Osamu finds Kaibara's story to be captivating, writes a story about him, tears it down, and thus un-isekais him, right? Easy, simple, we've already done that. But I think it might be a little bit too simple and a little bit too common if that was a thing that happens every single time. It would really get very fucking formulaic. And also, would Kaibara even be, you know, willing to let Osamu write that story? Suzuki was very self-centered. Suzuki was very... you know, he was looking for the glory and for recognition. So when someone arrived there and said, I want to write a story about you, he was like, holy shit, someone actually recognized my, you know, uniqueness right away. What do you want to know, right? And that gave Sensei the time to actually write it and to essentially prepare the spell, prepare his ability. Not in this case. I really don't think that Kaibara gives a single fuck about having a biography, right? So he wouldn't really give much time for Osamu to write the story about him. He would just eat him. Or in the meantime, while Osamu is writing stuff, he would eat others. So probably not the solution we're going for. If we look at Sensei's powers as a power to make a story continue, chances are he might give a nice power boost to either the king or to Princess Matilda, right? Because Princess Matilda, for example, is the tragic heroine. She went through so much tragedy, and there's many more stories about her to be told. She's a truly interesting woman, so her story shall become a saga. And we can't have the main character of a saga dying. We need to have her suffer the losses and then suffer the gains. We need to have her continue trudging on. And that's the power to continue her story would give her some bullshit way to defeat Kaibara. That's my current running theory. Sensei gives power to Tama or King. If that is the case, then that would basically confirm that Osamu's power is to continue the story. Because if he just sends Kaibara back, then his power might very well be just sending people back. We'll see. We'll see, of course. Wildcat poem. Extraordinarily tough. I ate a bunch of golems the other day, and so he gained the properties of a golem. Kaibara is essentially an isekai protagonist in his own right, isn't he? Pretty much everybody that we've met that wasn't a straight-up comedic character like Kotaro is an isekai protagonist in their own right, right? Summoned to another world, given the power to absorb the strength of things they eat. How many stories like that are there, right? To not look any further, there is the Re-Monster, for example, right? Slime Isekai, Slime Ito, also has the powers to eat and absorb powers, right? Many such cases. So he's basically this sort of an archetype, but turned evil, where instead of just eating monsters, he's also eating humans and other folk, right? Another weight drops. Ultimate technique. Very nice look, very nice preparation. Unfortunately, Tama. For fuck's sakes, Tama. Really? Why did you have to be here? I know that it was done this way to continue the story, because if the king attacked Kaibara, he would probably have died, yada 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 yada. Sure, I understand that, but I really don't like the trope of interruptions, right? I really fucking hate it. When I hated it in Kaiju number 8, for example, right? There is the enemy laying on the ground. A final finishing punch. No, protagonist-kun, are you alright? Huh? Oh no, the enemy escaped. Right? Like, I fucking hate that. It doesn't even have to be in the context of, no, protagonist-kun, don't do that. Do you really want to be like him? But even in just a distraction, I really don't like it when the villain, the antagonist, would have been defeated if the main character was not distracted. I really don't like it because it really feels cheap. It really feels like a cheap cop-out. Like the writer wrote themselves into a corner because they want to use that antagonist still, right? They want to use them, they have some plans for them, but they kind of wrote the story in a way where the protagonist has, the punch prepared and the villain is gonna die soon. So, let's distract the protagonist, let's allow the villain to escape. The people are gonna, people are not gonna mind. That's usually the approach. Or that's usually how I see it, at least. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna be, it was this way in here, because I really don't think that even the king's ultimate technique would have worked against Kaibara, but still, right? It's, it also fizzles out the excitement and the build-up, right? There's that build up to the final punch, right? To the final kill, and finally maybe a chance at a win or a chance at a loss, but something, some resolution, and then just fucking fizzles out because someone appeared, distracted the main character. Oh well, I guess, right? I really don't like it, but sure, whatever. He was the prince to inherit the throne, the valiant Prince Leon and the kind Princess Matilda. But the queen and the prince died, and so Matilda got it into her head to replace her brother and also become valiant, and also Viking became overprotective. Makes perfect sense, actually, from like a character standpoint. A deep rift formed between the two of them, yeah, because the king never wanted Matilda to put herself in harm's way, right? So, of course, she wants to put herself in harm's way like the prince would have, and the king wants the exact opposite of that. Yeah, stupid cat. Interesting that the things that he eats actually make it to his mouth. I thought that it's that, you know, big chompy thing that actually eats them, and he just gets maybe the taste sensation on his tongue or something like that. But no, he actually gets the meat in his maw. Yeah, probably a good choice, old man. Yeah, writing about Tama. Castle just fell, and of course he wants to. He's not, you know, I'm not here to oppress you. No, I just want to eat you. That's not oppression. You're gonna meet all together in my belly. A family never wants to be apart, right? You know, you make a good point. A heroine I seek never meekly accepts tragedy, right? That's the biggest part of a tragedy, isn't it? In my opinion, at least, and I would say that Osamu probably agrees with me. The biggest tragedy is the struggle, right? Because you can write a story where the main character, I don't know, the main character of a fantasy story lives with their parents die, the entire village gets razed, the main character survives and then slowly dies of starvation. The end. Tragic, yeah, but also kinda like, I don't know, like a doesn't really make you feel things because, okay, yeah, sure, he starved, but there was no struggle, no nothing. The biggest tragedy, the biggest impact you can have on the reader or viewer or whoever receives your story is to present them with a struggle, right? The struggle that could have a point or could be completely pointless. You could have a character that just struggles constantly and is constantly brought down. Everything where the worst happens to them, but they still trudge on. That makes for a compelling story, right? And that's also why I believe that tragic stories should also have their heights. Because if a story is just a tragedy, you just stop caring. You know that whatever happens is gonna end up badly. The main character is starving and they get a piece of food from a stranger, you know that the food is gonna be rotten or poisoned or taken from him, right? So why care? But if there are ups in the story, if the main character can actually punch through the tragedy briefly, even if they get overwhelmed instantly after, that creates variety. That makes you want to engage with it, right? So the story of Downs in Tama's life must have an up for the story to remain compelling. And maybe Sensei's power to continue a story will come in handy here. That's my suspicion, at least. Tragedy of Clolon Pass. Yeah, you can't have the entire royal family be destroyed. And yeah, we're going Of course, yeah, I want to be eaten. I'm constantly thinking about death and how to die. I never considered being eaten. Could be a nifty little experience, actually. But also, we have to remember that his flesh is extremely poisonous, and he ate a whole entire bottle of sleeping pills as well. So maybe he gets bitten, and the moment his blood makes contact with the Mo just fucking dies, and Kaibara gets left without powers. Actually not a stupid idea. Sen says flesh poisons Kaibara or his maw. And also a good question, did he eat humans? Right? He came here with plenty of fellow like humans from the real world, but did he taste any of them? Maybe, maybe not. Of course, Tama ran away. And of course, she ran just in. She is kind of stupid like that. Loyal to a fault, and that fault is stupidity in this case. I really don't think she stands a chance against Kaibara, unless given a your story will continue kind of buff from the sensei. That's about the only way I can see this. I can see Tama winning. Alternatively, Sensei arrives in the nick of time and manages to save the day somehow. Either or. Something like that will probably happen in the next episode. But right now, there we go. Oh, those headphones are incredibly fucking hot. But right now, that's gonna be it for this episode. It was nice overall. I mean, it's... I don't want to say a beginning of an arc, but kinda, right? Like, it's not gonna be much of an arc. I can fully see the fight being done in the next episode. So, again, not much of an arc. But... yeah, interesting reveals about Tama's backstory, about her history in general, about her motivations, about her, life and her past. That's gonna be very useful to know because that's gonna form the kind of a character, the kind of a person that she is, right? Interesting introduction of another evil otherworlder, which on one hand is kind of out of nowhere, but on the other makes sense. He's a glutton, he's a connoisseur, so of course he would like to taste some demi-human meat. And now that they've essentially taken over, he has a chance to do so. So of course he would use it. I'm not much of a fan of how stupid Tama acts. That would be probably my only criticism of this episode. But other than that, it's a perfectly cool episode that is kind of introductory to what's gonna happen next. Right? In this episode, not all that much happened. We get the stage and the actors set up, basically. And the play is gonna take place in the next episode, and that's probably when I'm gonna have some more to talk about. And that's probably when we're also gonna learn what actually is Sensei's power, or we are at least gonna have a little bit better of an idea. We'll see, of course, where it goes. But that's gonna happen next week. Right now, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. A little bit shorter of a video by my standards, at least. But yeah, you guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers. Spoilers can go to my Discord, but comments down below. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Isekai Shikkaku, but also Spice and Wolf, Victoria, Bye Bye Earth, Shy, QA Isekai, plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when those videos go out and when I go live, because I stream sometimes, mostly Alchemy stores. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below. On Patreon, for $10 a month, you get early access to non-seasonal shows, and for just $1, you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube through memberships, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm Gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without Planetza, Renny, Yukiala, Chibibro, Dr. Wot, Akamas, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to be eaten.